What's up, you guys? It's Dito D. I just want to talk to you a little bit. We got the Rebel Moon movie coming out tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about it. You've been seeing all kinds of stuff the past week with the reviews coming out, and people saying this and people saying that, and we got people making videos all over the place about the state of these reviews and Rotten Tomatoes and these critics and stuff. And it's I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that because the situation around this director, it's not like anybody else. I'm not going to do too much editing or anything in this video. I just wanted to say this real quick because I did this like a few days ago. I did this when the scores and stuff came out for the movie, and I thought they were kind of suspect. And then everybody saw that, so I didn't feel a need to make the video because everybody was talking about it. And I've been trying to figure out what it is, and I think I know what it is. Now, mind you, when Zack Snyder made Man of Steel, that was in 2013. That was 1 year, one full year after the Avengers had came out. Okay? One summer the Avengers came out, the next summer Man of Steel came out. Now, when Man of Steel came out, I remember seeing that movie sitting right in the middle of the IMAX, and I was blown the fuck away. Like in the first 20 minutes, I couldn't believe the shit that I was just seeing happening on Krypton. So by the end of that movie, I was just like, holy shit. And I remember talking to my friend about it. I was like, bro, did you see all them people that got killed in Metropolis? That was insane. I remember that was one of the first things we talked about. And I just was trying to figure out what were they going to do in the next movie. And, you know, at that time, people were acting like so many things were handled wrong in that movie. And I was like thinking at the time, like, how? If Superman existed in our world at this time, 2013 at the time, if he was here, this is pretty much how I could see it unfolding. And I don't know why people think that superheroes running around doing superhero shit would be cool or fun. It's not cool. It would be frightening. It would be scary, just like those people looked in Man of Steel. And all I know is all the complaints about the movie were very immature complaints. They were like about the lack of colors and the lack of jokes and the lack of, all this light-hearted stuff, you know. And it didn't seem like that was the direction that they were trying to go with in that movie. So for people to be complaining about it, it's like, well, I mean, you're looking for another movie, but that's not this movie. You know what I'm saying? And what I think happened was somewhere around that time, because even Man of Steel was that people were trying to bash that, and then they bashed BVS and BVS. What happened with that movie to where it needed another edition when it came out on DVD was the studio chose to take 30 minutes out. And then when they put it on DVD, they released this longer edition. But people still blame the director for that. But that wasn't his choice. He wanted to put out the movie the way he filmed it. And so people act like, oh, he destroyed this and that. And they act like they're trying to defend this superhero stuff. But I don't think that's what it is. I think that what it was it was a lot of people who were fans of Marvel. And they saw that Zack Snyder was doing something that could be a potential threat to what was going on over at Marvel. Now, if you know the Marvel movie history, you know that they had a long, hard road trying to get to where they are with their movies now. Because there were Marvel movies in the 90s and all that. They sucked. They were terrible movies. Horrible, awful, bad movies. Okay? And so when you fast forward to Iron Man and they have a hit on their hands, and then they move over to another hero and connect the movie, and move over to another hero and connect the movie, and they do this for several years, and then something comes along, which is the uh I guess the competitive or the competition company. So DC comes along with something, and it just so happened to be Zack Snyder working on it. And these people didn't like that. They saw him as a threat. So anything he tried to do, anything that was going on over at DC, they was just bashing off top. It didn't even matter. It didn't even have to come out yet. They was just bashing it, and they had already chose their sides. They had already chose that they was gonna be, against Snyder and for Kevin Feige, right? And it's funny because it took Kevin Feige and a whole bunch of directors to do what they did. And Zack Snyder came along by himself, got some actors together, and did 3 movies. And because WB wanted him to rush and get to where Marvel was, he was able to do that in a way that made it look really good. And then they had some other movies from that line that was sprinkled around that. But the main movies, the ones that he did, those are the ones that really mattered. And maybe they did pose a threat to Marvel. And so I think it was the Marvel fans that got really loud and became Snyder antis. Because for DC to turn on itself, it just made no sense. Maybe these people were just comic book fans overall, so DC and Marvel, and they were watching Marvel movies and they were made a certain way, and then they wanted DC movies to be made that way, and when they weren't, they just lost it. I don't know. But the things that people say about Zack Snyder, it's never really like an in-depth take. I don't hear anything new. I hear the same stuff. Oh, everything he does looks good, but he doesn't make good stories. Oh, okay. Just like people saying Superman's not relatable. Oh, yeah, well, I heard the Russos say that. Okay. And then I've heard all kinds of critics say the same thing about Zack Snyder and how he makes his movies. My thing is, like with me, my least favorite director is Uwe Boll, right? I don't like Uwe Boll movies. I watch his movies though, but I'm not sitting around talking shit about Uwe Boll or people who like his movies. There are 2 movies that he did that I liked, and I don't like him at the expense of his other movies. I just don't like his other movies, But I'm not sitting around bashing Uwe Boll, and if he's gonna do something, I'm just hoping that he does a good job. I'm not gonna be like, oh, Uwe Boll, Jesus, God, no. The only time I ever did that was when I heard Michael Bay was doing the Transformers. And I wasn't happy with that. But yeah, that was the one time when I heard Transformers movie was coming out. I was like, yeah. And then they said by Michael Bay. I was like, no. And it was just automatic, And back then people didn't really know. They were asking me, why you feel like that? Why you act like that towards Michael Bay? I had my reasons. I still got my reasons. But Michael Bay did 6 Underground with Ryan Reynolds, and I really liked that. That was a good movie to me. Everybody didn't like it, but there's people out there that like Michael Bay stuff that I don't like at all. So we don't got to agree. But even if we're not agreeing, like, why people go in on Zack Snyder the way they do? Because with all the shit that people say, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with certainty, hands down. Like, it's no question. Rebel Moon comes out tomorrow, right? No matter whatever happens to Rebel Moon, whatever Rebel Moon is, it's fucking leaps and bounds better than The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. So I'm wondering if these people who, feel this kind of way towards Zack Snyder, would you rather have Rebel Moon be a Star Wars story that you could have got from them, or just accept The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker? I mean, since we acting like, oh, shitty movies, oh, okay, well, here's some fucking shitty movies. But the people who directed them, they ain't getting hit with a bunch of shit all the time. Ryan Johnson's still running around making fucking movies. And you know what? There's a lot to be said about what he did to Star Wars. I mean, we've been talking about it, and then they wanted to give him his own trilogy and all that shit. Roll out the red carpet for this dude. But yeah, that's what I think happened, man. I think that people were just, they felt threatened by Zack Snyder. And I think they still do, because the fan base was able to pull off something that no other fan base ever did. They was able to get a movie that was never supposed to come out. The studio was trying to hide that shit. They was working overtime trying to hide that. And then they got exposed. And the movie ended up getting put out. And there were people who were really angry about that. Ain't like no money came out of these motherfuckers' pockets, but they was really upset. And that's funny to me. That's haha funny, because it's just like, you ain't got to spend no money on that. And it's like people asking, oh, why are they doing 2 different versions over at Netflix? Because they fucking want to. Like, why do you have a problem with it? All that shit about, well, he can't make a movie unless it's 3 or 4 hours. But man, what the fuck are you talking about? He had a couple movies that was 3 hours. Justice League was 4 hours. A Snyder cut has been a long running tradition. Okay. It's just a thing. When The Watchmen came out, they did 3 versions of that fucking movie. All right. So back then that was like, holy shit, they did 3 versions. What is this? When you saw a director's cut back then, you were happy, you know? So you had a director's cut and you had another cut of Watchmen, and it was really cool. And then, Dawn of the Dead, it has an extended version. It's not like too much longer, but it has an extended version, which I prefer much more over the other one. Sucker Punch had a rated R version. It was just a little thing they was doing. 300 wasn't like that. Superman wasn't like that. And all these movies ain't fucking 3 hours. There's a couple movies that was 3 hours, and Justice League was 4 hours. Because the same people that's complaining about Zack Snyder making 3-hour movies is the same people that was upset when Martin Scorsese said that superhero movies isn't real cinema. So the same usual suspects come running along. Now they talking shit about Martin Scorsese can't make movies. This is what I'm supposed to believe from this crowd of people. That now, because they're upset by something this man said towards something that they just enjoy so fucking much, now I'm supposed to believe that nigga can't make movies. And Martin Scorsese has a few 3-hour movies out there, 3-hour plus movies. So what is that supposed to mean? Like, it don't mean shit, bro. Like, people just trying to defend some shit that they don't need to be trying to defend like that. Disney and superheroes and shit. Superheroes, motherfuckers is a dime a dozen. They all over the place. Like, it's time to move on, bro. Like, and then, what, we supposed to defend an organization over a person? That's what you expect? No, nigga, I got scruples. So you ain't gonna catch me defending no organization over no person. That's just I'm humane. I don't know about you, but I'm humane. If I see an organization doing a person wrong while they're grieving, oh well, I'm on their side. It ain't even about cult and all this shit, nigga. You're in a cult if you can't understand that. So all this shit that people be talking, it fall by the wayside, bro. Tomorrow, when Rebel Moon comes out and The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker get blown out of the fucking water, then it ain't even a question no more, because would you rather have, and I mean, you could answer this today without the movie even being out. You can answer this before you even see the movie. Would you rather have the Zack Snyder Star Wars movie or the shit that you got?